When it comes to enjoyment, I'm all for enjoyment. Enjoy yourself, but not at my expense. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. So all of my house guests, welcome. As you can see, I'm in the car again. So grab yourselves a drink, relax and make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. When the royal family stated on the 23rd of May that planned engagements were immediately being cancelled following the Prime Minister's announcement of a general election, which is taking place next Thursday, I honestly feel like I've seen more of this royal family in the last 6 weeks than I have in the last 6 months. The more accurate statement to have made would have been, we're cancelling all the boring engagements, but the fun and entertaining ones are still in the diary. In a week during which members of the medical profession are protesting once again about not earning enough money to pay their bills, it would appear that since the passing of Queen Elizabeth, the concept of royal duty has been redefined. No longer is it rooted in stoicism and protocol, but rather it is based more and more upon pure enjoyment at the taxpayer's expense. In a week during which Princess Anne has apparently been recovering from concussion and memory loss after an alleged incident with a horse, that did not stop Charles and his second wife hosting a state banquet in honour of the Emperor and Empress of Japan. Neither did it stop William from dancing, if we can call it that, and taking selfies with 2 of his children and Taylor Swift at her concert in Wembley. And once again we see that William seemed to be having a whale of a time without his wife, the same wife who supposedly took this well choreographed photo of her family. I don't know about you guys, but I don't take these images at face value anymore, simply because of the Mother's Day photo. To me, this looks like it's AI generated, because how are you going to get 3 children to all be in sync with their dad jumping over? I don't know what they're jumping over. Maybe you guys can help me with that, but it looks too perfect. Is it just me? Anyway, someone who doesn't seem to be having a whale of a time is this individual. We all know that when a wound is in the process of healing, a protective cover is formed in order to keep infection out. Unfortunately, Thomas Markle Sr. is not able to resist the urge of picking the scab once again to reinfect the estranged relationship with his youngest daughter with the poison of his toxic mouth, just because he believes she has a duty to him.
Look, speaking of Meghan Markle's father, Thomas Markle, has spoken out this week and publicly begged the Duchess of Sussex to allow him to meet his grandchildren. What did Thomas Markle have to say?
Right, so Thomas Markle, we haven't heard from him in a little while. At one point, he was doing a lot of tell-all interviews, talking to the press all the time, 60 Minutes, you name it, but he really has quietened down lately. But again, he's come out, he's spoken to the Daily Mail, and he's given a tell-all. He's said that he is sad, he's in failing health, he's about to turn 80, and he's never met his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet. He hasn't seen Meghan since before the wedding. He's never met Harry. And it was sort of one last kind of ditch effort in the media to beg Meghan to see him. But, I felt reading it at first, I thought, this is so sad. This is a man, in the twilight of his life wanting to reconnect with his daughter. But then you sort of look at some of the things he did, and I kind of can relate to Meghan. There's a lot of discussion now around like cutting off a toxic parent and the and the awkwardness of it. But I can understand. I don't think this is going to move Meghan either way. I don't think this will change anything for her, but it's definitely sad news.
I agree with you, and I'm torn on that issue too, because unfortunately Thomas Markle made some pretty big mistakes and he made them publicly, and unfortunately that's the consequences. So
and not only that, I mean, he's also supported his other children, Meghan's half siblings, and they've been absolutely terrible to Meghan. So from her point of view, I'm sure she probably looks at her half siblings and her father and just says, I'm out.
Yeah, look, we've been, I've been so critical of Meghan, as many of us have, and she's far from perfect, but I do feel for her on this one because it's pretty awful to have family drama played out.
And while Thomas Markle Sr. needs us to hear the world's smallest violin playing on his behalf, his son-in-law's battle against the UK print media continues. This article is from the bbc.co.uk, published on the 27th of June. The headline reads, Judge orders Harry to explain missing messages. The Duke of Sussex has been ordered by a High Court judge to explain why messages which might be relevant to his legal case against the publisher of The Sun have been deleted. Newsgroup newspapers, which also published the now defunct News of the World, had brought a one-day hearing to help gain access to documents, emails and messages related to Prince Harry's claim. The Prince and more than 40 others are suing the company over allegations of unlawful information gathering from journalists and private investigators it hired, with a trial expected to start in January 2025. NGN is contesting the claims. Mr. Justice Timothy Fancourt said there was evidence that a large number of potentially relevant documents and confidential messages between the Prince and the ghostwriter of his autobiography Spare were destroyed sometime between 2021 and 2023, well after this claim was underway. The position is not transparently clear about what happened, the judge said. He said the Prince's exchanges with writer J.R. Moehringer on the Signal messaging app may have related to the parts of Spare in which unlawful information gathering in relation to newspapers was discussed. NGN's legal team accused the Duke of obfuscation, but Prince Harry's barrister, David Sherborne, said in written arguments that the Duke had not discussed unlawful information gathering via text or WhatsApp with anyone, and that his Signal messages had been wiped. Mr. Justice Fancourt ruled that a wider search was required of Prince Harry's laptop, text and WhatsApp messages to look at exchanges from 2005 to early 2023. The Duke was also ordered to produce a witness statement explaining how messages with his ghostwriter J.R. Moehringer were missing. Newsgroup was awarded 2/3 of its costs, but the Duke of Sussex's legal team is disputing the £132,000 bill, arguing the amount is excessive for a one-day hearing. It comes after NGN's legal team had sought an order forcing Harry to disclose any information he had, which would be relevant to what he knew about alleged unlawful behaviour before the end of 2013. NGN had argued that if the Duke knew he had a potential claim before that date, then the case could be dismissed on the grounds it was filed too late. In April, the same court rejected NGN's request for a preliminary trial to help decide whether Prince Harry had left it too late. Under legal rules, claims usually have to be brought within 6 years, but many of these cases go back decades. But the claimants in the case argued NGN concealed evidence of phone hacking, making it impossible for them to sue sooner. NGN has already paid out hundreds of millions of pounds to the victims of phone hacking by News of the World and settled more than 1,300 lawsuits. The company has previously said the Sun does not accept liability or make any admissions to the allegations. Prince Harry's claim is one of a series of legal challenges he has brought against parts of the British press. Earlier this year, the Duke settled his remaining phone hacking claims against Mirror Group newspapers, which related to claims of unlawful intrusion on 115 stories. Because Harry was successful in exposing Mirror Group newspapers, News Group newspapers are determined that the case brought against them reaches a completely different conclusion. Guys, I'm really struggling to understand why notes and emails between Harry and his literary collaborator would have any bearing on litigation about phone hacking. And to me, the judge in this case requiring an explanation seems a little questionable. But what do I know? So, while the usual suspects do the most to portray Harry as a villain, Harry continues to perform his duty as a strong support for a group of people who all have a mutually shared experience.
He has given insight into the grief he suffered after the death of his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. It was part of a moving contribution he's made to a video by a charity that helps bereaved military children, which has been released in the lead up to Armed Forces Day. Our royal editor Chris Shipp reports.
When Prince Harry made his short visit to the UK last month, he did some events in public and others behind closed doors. One of them was this visit to the charity Scottie's Little Soldiers, which supports children who've lost a parent who have served in the armed forces. At that event, Scottie's founder described to Harry how she told her children their dad had been killed in Afghanistan.
So I took him up and sat him on the bed and I just said, Kai, do you remember where Daddy, I said Daddy was, and he said, yeah, Afghan. And so I just said, the baddies have hurt Daddy and he's died. You knew that life was never ever going to be the same, sorry. I didn't think I'd do this. It's bad, but yeah.
Starting everybody else off as well.
Sorry.
Harry looked visibly moved and spoke about when he lost his mother at age 12.
You convince yourself that the person you've lost wants you to, or you need to be sad for as long as possible to prove to them that they're messed.
Yeah.
But then then there's this realization of, no, they must want me to be happy.
Sitting 2 seats along from Harry that day was Tuscany Crowther Snow. Tuscany was 13 when 4 years ago her dad Paul, in the Royal Navy, died through suicide.
I've passed my driving test, so I've just gone and got my first car, and that's definitely brought back a lot of kind of emotions for me.
You'd always imagined your dad kind of sitting next to you.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the things that he always said he'd do with me ever since I was little.
That connection you had with Prince Harry, you think you've got that because ultimately you both share the fact that you've lost a parent?
We've lost a parent at roughly the same age, and to see all the things that he's done and all the things that he's managed to accomplish since his mum passed away, it's definitely provoked a kind of strength in me that I can do the same thing.
More than 2,000 children lose a military parent or veteran every year. With Harry, its new global ambassador, Scotties wants to help more children cope with loss. Chris Shipp, ITV News, Hampshire.
In a world where things make less and less sense with every passing day, it's gratifying to know that there's a rare classification of individuals who make themselves genuinely vulnerable in order to make others feel heard and supported. So guys, this idea of duty, I think the royal family think they have a monopoly on that word. because it's very, it's like if you don't have a sense of duty, you're looked down upon, just as Harry and Meghan were when they stepped back. The British royal family's idea of duty is sacrifice of your happiness for the sake of this institution, an institution which, in my opinion, is becoming obsolete. That aside, the word duty seems to have been redefined by the current royal family, the senior working members. When it comes to enjoyment, I'm all for enjoyment. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, but not at my expense. Okay? If you want to have a state banquet, have a state banquet. Drink as much as you want, but not at my expense. Because I thought these guys were not working for 6 weeks up until Thursday the 4th of July. Why have they appeared like rats out of a derelict building? What is this? That was my question. And you know, this idea of duty, according to what I have seen, William wants to steer this whole thing in a different direction, and he doesn't want his kids to be as heavily involved in the monarchy when the time comes, which is fine. But you know, you can't work from home. You can't be a monarch just performing Zoom calls. You can't, you know, make promises that you can't keep. Where is your duty in helping the homeless as you pledged quite a while ago now? We've not heard anything about that. Why are you not fulfilling your duty in that regard, William, next king to be? Very interesting. And when it comes to Thomas Markle, I've talked about this before. We discussed this in this video, which I uploaded on Father's Day. Meghan doesn't owe you anything. Why you felt the need to flap your gums yet again is beyond me. Because past experience should have told you that the more you talk, the less you're likely to re-establish a connection with your youngest child. But you keep being I don't know whether your other kids are prompting you to do this, but I thought, Mr. Markle, you would have had more sense to realise that you should stop falling into their trap. Stop being so influenced by them, if indeed they are prompting you to speak again. Yes, you're going to be 80. The cat in the background. You're going to be 80. Okay, thank God that you're going to reach that age. That's what you should be doing. You should be thanking God that you get to see that age, because there are many millions of people who don't even reach the age of 8 years. Okay? Be grateful. That's what you should be doing. You should be being grateful. But instead, you're just whinging to anyone who will listen because you want a quick payday yet again. It's very sad. And this is why Meghan owes you nothing. She wanted you to be at the wedding. She wanted you there. But against your better judgment, your actions turned into something that you will regret for the rest of your life. You are not Doctor Who, basically. You cannot get into a TARDIS and go back in time and try and recreate the moment when you could have walked your daughter down the aisle. She wanted you to. For whatever reason, you decided that wasn't going to happen. It's not Meghan's fault. I'm someone who forgives. If you hurt me, I'm not going to like what you did, but I can forgive. It doesn't take me long to forgive. Once I've thought and weighed up everything in my head, you know, I don't hold grudges, because one thing I know for sure is that when you hold a grudge, when you internalize bitterness and anger, you end up in the doctor's office. That can't be me. I couldn't tell you the last time I went to a doctor, because I'm always conscious about, you know, my emotions and what I'm feeling and how someone's affected me and how I can change that around so that I'm not negatively affected. I can forgive, okay? Don't have a problem with forgiving. I can genuinely forgive. But trust me when I tell you, you can never come back into my life after hurting me so badly. Why would I want you, who's displayed such bad behaviour towards me, why would I want you back in my life? Does that make sense to anyone? And this is what I imagine Meghan feels towards her dad. Of course she loves her dad. That's her dad. She never said she didn't love her dad. But there comes a point when you stop accepting toxic behaviour. Just because you were partly responsible for her existence, she doesn't owe you anything. She has a life to live. She has children to bring up. And talking about those children, you want to see Archie and Lily so badly. You're afraid of passing away and not seeing them. What about Ashley, who sees Archie and Lily regularly? Ashley, your other daughter's child, who has nothing to do with her own mother. You don't ask about Ashley. You don't have a relationship with. I mean, do you have a relationship with any of your other grandkids? I doubt it. Because you're laser focused on Archie and Lily. Why? Why? I mean, we all know why. We all know why. But my thing is, in my head, I believe that Meghan will have made provisions for her dad, you know, when the unfortunate time comes, when he can't help himself anymore, when he is incapacitated. I believe she will have made those provisions, because at the end of the day, his other two kids are not in a position to help him. They can't even help themselves. I've said that before. But I don't blame her for keeping him at arm's length. I wouldn't want that. I can love you from afar. I can love you from afar. And then when it comes to Harry and his sense of duty, for those of us who are old enough to remember Harry as a very small child, running around in his army uniform, playing with William in the garden with an obstacle course with Diana, supervising them. He had a passion for the military from a very, very early age. So what the institution did, they knew this would hurt him, especially him having served 2 tours in Afghanistan. They knew that if they took away the military titles bestowed upon him, that would hurt him. They knew that if they said to him, if they ordered him basically, you are not allowed to wear your military uniform at your grandmother's funeral, they knew how much that would hurt him. But like he said to Nikki Scott in that interview, the founder of Scottie's Little Soldiers, she turned her pain into purpose. He's turned his pain into purpose. And I watched that entire interview on Scottie's channel. I'm going to put the link down in the description below if you're interested. It's about 18 minutes long. I watched it and it kind of warmed my heart, because it was like the fact that this woman was given room to tell her story and Harry just listened and he could empathize. Do you think your current king or your future king would ever be able to do that? The answer is a resounding no, because they don't know how to be empathetic. I'm sorry, they don't. I've never seen evidence of that. I don't think they have the mental capacity to do that, because they like to shove things under the carpet. They don't seem to like to confront things. Everybody deals with grief in a different way. Granted. But like I've said in the previous video, Harry's done the work. So him having gone through that, his own experience of bereavement, and being able to talk about it coherently and logically in a way that is not triggering for him, he can empathise with others. William will never be able to do that. Charles will never be able to do that. Not in a way that's relatable, anyway, from what I can see. Harry is fulfilling his duty, and this is why Harry and Meghan said when they exited the royal family that service is universal. Service is not confined to the definition of the royal family. Service is universal. The fact that these guys do not let obstacles stand in their way, whatever's thrown at them, they just get on with the job. You know, they don't make pledges and promises they
can't fulfill. Unlike William, who, you know, I'm still waiting to see this homelessness project get off the ground, this homelessness initiative. I mean, the unfortunate thing is that he got Stephen Bartlett involved, because I would have expected something from him as well, but I've not heard anything. Guys, if you've heard anything about this homelessness project, please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, because I don't spend my life on the internet. I don't know. You know, if I'm wrong, I hold my hands up and say, you know, yeah, William is doing something about that. From what I've seen, he's gallivanting up and down, very happy when his wife's not around, at our expense. What about the homeless people, William? What about them? Where's your duty concerning them? Guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.